NFL game last night. It took advantage with a highlight reel 9-yard touchdown run. So how did Baltimore's fans react? Well, by taking their shirts off and dancing like no one was watching.
Wait, which one of these fellas about to take his shirt off?
I hope no.
The worst option.
Nothing like
Look
seeing
at it.
grown white
Go
guys
get it,
dance.
big fella.
In sport, like they forget.
Professional.
Like this guy's a lawyer by day.
Watch out, buddy.
Check him out. I'm not done. No, I'm not done.
That's actually not.
No, that ain't the word. That's the I'm killing this ground.
That is. Oh, gosh.
Whoa, watch out. That's got to be jam because jelly don't move like that.
Oh my! Oh, we're gonna show it again. We're gonna do this to America one more time.
What happened to the Ray Lewis? What happened to 52? What he doing?
What
he doing?
Is he trying
What
to
is
do
that?
Is that Ray Lewis's intro?
I mean, what is
He
that?
is trying to do the Ray Lewis intro.
What is he?
Oh, there's so much to be gleaned. We could just keep playing this on a loop. How about the ladies in the stands?
Yeah, I was just going to say the lady behind there
She's saying no.
applauding.
Check out the.
Stop it.
She said no, stop.
Stop it. Stop it.
The older
Good
lady
stuff.
in the third row enjoyed it.
Up there
Good
looking like a
stuff.
beach whale. What is that?
Oh,
Some of the best fans now.
Oh, no doubt.
Baltimore,
Oh, no doubt.
they-
Oh, no doubt.
and when you've had Joe Flacco playing quarterback for a decade, you're like, wait, the quarterback can scramble? Like, that's allowed? They saw that and were quite excited. So I understand the exuberance there.
All right, let's move on from that. Chris, a lot of NFL eyes on Andrew Luck, who played his first game in 585 days last night. He tested that shoulder out. Colts, Seahawks. Luck came in, went 6 for 9, 64 passing yards. Most impressively, he left the game healthy. And here's what he had to say afterwards.
For a moment there, I was like, okay, how do I approach it? Especially as leading up to the game, trying to control my emotions, and I just sort of said, screw it. I'm going to go out. Whatever I want to think and I want to feel, I'm going to feel it and let that happen. And it was a little bit like pressure was off of me in a sense, and I really had fun. Like I really enjoyed it. And like I've told you guys earlier, I didn't quite know how much fun, if I would have this much fun again practicing football. I didn't know if I'd have this much fun again playing football. And it's a preseason game, you know. I'm not going to overblow anything or blow anything out of proportion, but it's still a game, and it's still a chance to go up against another color jersey, and it was a fun step along the way.
That is great perspective. You believe him. You believe that he's genuinely having fun, getting ready to go out there and play in that preseason.
Yeah, that's the example. If Homer Simpson was going to be an NFL quarterback, that's what he would sound like.
Or Andre the Giant. Rest in peace, Mr. Giant.
I'm glad for a couple things, because I think because the significance of Andrew's injury and potentially being career altering, that we're going to see a different guy or hear a different guy when we get sound bites, because I think we're going to get the real part. A lot of athletes are interviews, they're not real. We can't be real, you can't tell the truth. But I think that he saw that, and he's like, I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to be nervous. His first practice, he thought, was like a game. And he's like, oh, I'm going to be reserved. And he's like most NFL quarterbacks. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to be out of control. I don't know how to do it. So I'm glad we're going to be able to see that. But at the top of his drop, when you watch the highlights, watch how quick he makes the decision. And that's the thing about Andrew Luck. It's not only his throwing talent, it's not only his beautiful throwing motion, but he makes decisions with the football. That's why he was in such high regard. So to be able to see that and not second guessing what he's seen, I love to be able to see that, and he was on target with most of his throws.
But what's the one thing that you did watch and see from Andrew Luck last night that I guess gave you some comfort? Like, okay, he's back. Was it the patience? Was it the fact that he was able to read? Was it the fact that his timing was still there even after all that time off? Was there something that you said, okay, he just needs to get the reps again?
Well, yeah, I looked at that one play where Quentin Jefferson was rushing from the defensive tackle spot for the Seattle Seahawks, and you got him off the spot, and Andrew Luck scrambled up, and then Bobby Wagner tackled him for a 2-yard gain. On that one, when he got hit and then he popped up, you could kind of see him in a sigh of relief, just saying, okay, I got the first hit behind me.
Watch what he does,
I'm not worried about it.
Watch what he does. You see?
Yeah, he's high-fiving one of his teammates.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you're talking. Listen, man, when you're facing your career mortality, you're worried about, okay, will the next hit be my last? But Andrew Luck, After that play happened, he's like, okay, now I can relax and I can go play football. Now, there was a little bit of rust. I saw one of the throws where he was off target a little bit. It was an out route, throwing outside of the numbers. The ball was a little bit inside, but Frank Wright tried to do things, especially on the first drive, in terms of the quick game, get him into a rhythm, get him comfortable, and he seemed like he settled down as the game went on. He held the ball a little too long on one of the sacks. It was on a play action, but, I mean, overall, I think you have to look at it as a good outing for Andrew Luck. He got back to playing professional football, used to the speed of the game, so that's a positive.
And I want to talk about what he talked about afterwards, because this is now the second time this week we have heard him say he's never once said, I worried I wouldn't be able to play again. He has said, I worried I wouldn't have fun playing again. So if you can play, why would it stop being fun? Well, if you were great and you start to question, will I be great again? Not only would that not be fun, that could be torturous.
And we haven't seen a lot of situations where the players have been as good as Andrew Luck in any sport that would even have to face that question.
I think you've got to almost change sports to pull up. It's a Derrick Rose is what he was facing. Like, I was the MVP. I was the MVP.
Wow. At what age?
I was the youngest MVP in NBA history. And they had to change rules for me, the Rose rule, to where you can pay guys extra when they're this young if they're that good. And then he blows out his knee and slowly came to the realization, you've seen Derrick Rose have to leave teams. You've seen Derrick Rose go AWOL because he has, he can't deal with it.
Yeah, he had it. And lost it.
And I don't hold it against him. I'm not criticizing.
Right.
That would be
hard to deal with.
Imagine the thing you take the single most pride in the world, not being taken from you, but you used to be great and now you're average. That would almost be worse than it being taken from you entirely because you're still doing it, but not really. That's what it seemed to me like Luck was worried about. Not I wouldn't be able to play, but am I still going to be me, the guy I was made out to be? And so when he's saying I'm having fun, that speaks to me that he believes, oh, I'm back. Like, I'm actually the guy I've been before. I'm back.
When you look at Andrew Luck, you go through a series of boxes that I'm sure he wants to check off. The one of them is getting hit. Let me get hit for the first time and check off that box. Give me what the other couple boxes are as he now goes through the preseason.
One, you want to have some success. You want to be able to throw the ball where you're directing it. And as Canty pointed out, even in some of the bad plays, you see, oh, man, interior offensive lineman breaking down. It's a short gain. I didn't get sacked, but 2 yards. Just reacting in game time, real time, and just being in touch with your emotions. I think that's very, very important. Them getting some positive as far as scoring drives, being able to put the ball in the end zone, being touchdowns or field goals, those are the type of things because that's going to generate confidence around the other because he doesn't have the type of talent around him that early in his career that he had as far as weapons. T.Y. Hilton's the only quality wide receiver that he does have. So that right there, as far as being a force multiplier, you want to see that happening. So guys seeing him and having him having success, I believe that trickles down to the rest of the team, Chris.
No, you're hitting the nail on the head. That's exactly right. It's a progression. And so the first thing is just to go out there and get a feel for the game. The next step is, okay, let's put together a couple of scoring drives.
Right.
And as the preseason goes on, I think we'll get closer to seeing the Andrew Luck that was able to carry his team to the AFC Championship game because that's ultimately what he's going to have to do playing in that AFC South. That's a tough division. There's no easy opponent down there. So if you're going to be competing with those guys, Andrew Luck is going to have to make a lot of plays for this team because they just don't have the requisite talent that all those other teams in that division do.
Well, Colts fans are thrilled to see what they saw from Andrew Luck last night. All right, coming up next is Des Bryant finally on the verge of landing with a new team. That's next on First Things First.